So, Deepak, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Vivor and Bursa, for organizing this session. Hi, everyone. This is Deepak here. I'm working in TransUnion Civil as a test lead, and basically, I'm using UiPath from last 5 or 6 years. But for my journey in test lead, I'm working from last 8 years. I found UiPath is a very useful for automating banking domain application. Because of that, we have moved all of our application uh, into UiPath automation tool only. So that is all about myself. So over to you, Priyanka.
Yeah.
You can start.
I think
Uh,
there's some disturbance and maybe Deepak at your side and the background.
No?
Yeah, when you speak, there
Slight
is
disturbance in your audio.
Okay. 1 second.
maybe Priyanka, you can start now.
yeah. So, hello everyone. Myself Priyanka. So, I am working as a RPA developer past 3 years, and currently I'm working in Wipro. So that's all about myself. And let's get started towards the agenda. So many times we need to interact with a website or a document or application, and we need some techniques and features to deal with it, right? So today's topic is all about how we can deal with the application or a website or a document and how we can interact with it. So we will see how we can extract the data from the application with the help of data scraping and screen scraping, and when to use what. Then we will see how we can send the data back to the application with the help of UI interaction. And we'll see how we can automate the web application. Also, in this session, we're gonna see selectors. What about selectors? How we can use the selector to interact with various UI component of the application and type of a selector. And at the end, we're going to see what is recording and how we can capture this set of steps with the help of recording and types of a recording available in UiPath. So let's get started towards data scraping. So data scraping enable you to extract the structured data from your browser or application or a document and store it into the database or a CSV file or Excel sheet. So there is no any as such categorization for data scraping, but for better understanding, we can categorize the data scraping into two parts based on the data we want to extract. One is pattern based and other one is table based. So we can extract the data from pattern, we can extract the data from table. So let's see the quick demo of how we can extract the data with the help of data scraping. But before going, to the demo, I just need to show you the prerequisite to use the data scraping or to, highlight the UI component. So what we need to do, we need to go to the tools and we need to enable the UiPath extension for the browser that we are using. So suppose we are using Chrome browser, then we have to enable the UiPath extension from here. So if you click on this, it will ask you to install the UiPath extension, and when you go to the browser, that particular extension will get enabled. So already I have enabled that particular extension, UiPath extension. So moving on to the demo for UiPath data scraping, what I'm going to do, I'm going to search the COVID top news over here. I have searched, and you can see the news in this screen, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the headlines of each of the news from the screen, and also I will fetch the source of that particular headline and the date on which it is published. So let's go to our workflow. I have already created the process. Let's drag one sequence. So in earlier session, we have seen what is the sequence. So if you have not watched attended the session, you can watch the recording. So for data scraping, what we need to do, we need to navigate to this data scraping, and you can find this in design panel. So we need to just click on this, and it will allow me to select the element from the screen. Let's click on next and highlight the first element of the news. So just click on this particular headline, and it will again ask me the second element to select the second element. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to at the end, I'm clicking next, I'm highlighting that particular thing. And you can see that all the headlines are getting highlighted. That means we have captured all the headlines from this page. Now, it will allow us to configure the column as well with specified name. So we can give the name like this, headline. And suppose I need to extract the URL for that particular headline as well. So I can check this column and I can give a name like link. Now, if I click on next, you can see the preview of data. So all the headline, whatever I'm able to see over here, this is getting replicated over here. So now next I want to extract the source of that particular headline. So to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm click on extract correlated data and navigate to the source of that particular headline, and it is asking me to select the second element. So I'll again go down, click next, highlight the second element, and now you can see that all the headlines are getting highlighted. So I'll give a name as a source. And you can see all the sources are getting replicated in our data. So to extract the date on which it is published, I'll click on extract correlated data again. I'll highlight it. For second element, I'll go down. I'll highlight this date again, and I'll give name as a published on. And if you click next, you can see all the data. That means we have captured headline, link, sources, and published on. Now, the maximum number of result that we are getting, if we put 0 over here, we'll get all the data, and by default it is 100. So suppose I want a 20 entries from this page, but I can see only like 10 to 12 entries from this particular page. So for getting the 20 entries, first thing I need to mention over here 20, and I need to navigate to the next page. To do that, once I click on finish, it will ask me, is the data spanning multiple pages? So if I select yes, then I will highlight the next button so that it will go to the next page and it will get the next entries. So whenever we are capturing the data from data scraping, attached browser container, gets added for that particular data scraping, and it saves the data inside data table. So data table is basically a type of a variable which that can stores the spreadsheet as a spreadsheet and with the rows and column, so which is similar to the Excel sheet. And if you want to learn more about the data table, so you can go to the UiPath Academy and you can have a RPA Foundation course. Over there you'll get to know about data table in depth. So now our data is getting stored inside this extract data table. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this data inside an Excel sheet with the help of right range activity. So I'll simply drag one right range activity here, and in the right range activity, you can provide the file name. You can browse the file name from here as well. But if you put the file name over here, like suppose you can provide the name, let's say news.xlsx, and you can provide the data table. So in our case, extract data table is the data table in which our data has been stored. So I will select this variable, and right range activity allow us to add the headers to that particular Excel sheet as well. So we can add the header by checking this property, add headers, so that the headers that we have customized or configured, which is sources, published on, that will get replicated to the Excel sheet. So let's save this and let's run the workflow. So you can see that it has navigated to the second page and execution has been completed. If you go to the project folder, you can see the news file and you can see the data, 20 entries, right? So one entry for this headers. So this is how we can, scrape the data for pattern. We have to find a pattern and we can scrape the data. Now for table, if we want to scrape the data from the table, we can go to the, I have taken the example of Yahoo Finance website where you can see the table, and suppose I want to extract the whole table. So to do that, we'll again go to the UiPath Studio. Simply we'll drag one more sequence, set as a start node, and we will click on data scraping. It will allow me to select the element. I'll click on now. Whenever we want to fetch the or extract the data from table, I just need to, highlight the particular column of that particular table. So when I when I highlight this column, it will allow me to, get the whole data of a table. So if I click yes, you can see the preview and whole table is getting extracted. So I will click on finish. Then it is asking me that whether the data is spanning multiple pages. Yes, it is, but I don't want to navigate to the another page. I just want this table to be extracted. So I will click on no. And again, we will be getting the output in the data table, which is extract data table. So what I'm going to do, I am dragging the right range activity over here, giving a file name, let's say Yahoo finance.xlsx, and the data table I'll be mentioning, which is extract data table. Click on add headers. So the headers will get added to the Excel sheet. And let's run the workflow. If we go to the project folder, you can see the Excel file has been generated, and we can see the data, from this website is getting extracted into this Excel sheet. So we have just pied the one column of that particular table, and we have extracted whole table. So this is the power of data scraping. So in this, till now we have seen that data scraping, pattern based and table based. So how we can extract the data from pattern and how we can extract the data from table. So there is one more assignment for you. So when you go to the UiPath Academy, you can find the course, RPA Developer Foundation course, and you can go to the UI interaction. You can also search the UI interaction, and inside this UI interaction, there is assignment for you, like practical assignment for data scraping. So in this, we can extract the data from this Acme website. So you can go to the Acme website and extract the data from it with the help of data scraping. So this is the kind of a homework for you. You can try it out after the session. Then next is the output method. So output method is also called as a screen scraping method, which refers to the activity that enable you to extract the data from specified UI element or a document such as PDF. So we can extract some particular UI element. So there are three types of a screen scraping method. We can say that one is full text, native, and OCR. So what is full text method? It's basically suitable for the web-based application or a website to extract the data, to extract the UI component from it. And it is by default method, and we can capture the hidden data from it. Also, it will recognize the UI element if the application is minimized. So it is a fastest method as compared to native and OCR, and it does not preserve the format. So let's see the example of full text method, how we can implement the full text method. To do that, I will go to the studio. I will again drag one sequence over here, set as a start node, and inside this, to demonstrate the full text method, I have a website, let's say, suppose this, and from this we have to extract the some text from it here. To extract, what we'll do, we'll just click on screen scraping, and you can find the screen scraping in design panel. And if you highlight over here, you can see the preview as well for the screen scraping. So there are three types of a method: full text, native, and OCR. If we select native, let's refresh and let's see what happens. So you can see that we are not getting a proper result that what we, we have highlighted. So if we select the full text method and refresh it, so we are getting what we have highlighted, the text we have highlighted just. Then ignore hidden button. If we select it, it will ignore the hidden items or element from the screen. So we will keep it as it is as of now. Let's click on finish. And again, the screen scraping as well, it will provide the container which is attached browser or attached window. And this is giving the output in text format. So let's say it is already given in this variable. Let's create another variable which is, let's say, text. And with the help of write line activity, or let's say message box, we'll drag message box over here so that we can see the output as well, and give a name, give a variable called text. Let's save and run this. So we should be getting this, the data we have highlighted, right? So see, we are getting this. So this was this was all about the full text method. So then comes the native method. Native method are basically useful for the Windows application, or best suitable for the Windows application. It cannot capture the hidden data and doesn't work with a minimized application. So whenever the application is minimized, it doesn't work properly. It is slow as compared to full text, but it is faster as compared to OCR, and it preserves the text position on the screen. So to give a demo, I have already created the workflow, and in that particular workflow, what I'm going to do, I'm clicking on Windows button, I'm clicking and entering CMD, which is command prompt, and I'm typing who am I command on that particular command prompt, and getting the data, whatever I'm getting from the command prompt, I'm saving it into the text file, and I'm exiting from the command line prompt. So what I'm going to do, I will quickly run this workflow to show you how native scraping method works. So it has entered CMD. So as you can see here, we have, we have executed the workflow, and under username, so like I can show you in this file. Yeah, so we have saved the data under this username txt, and you can see the username txt file. So this is my data, what I'm getting from the command line prompt. So this was all about a native method. And then comes to OCR method, OCR screen scraping. So OCR is nothing but a optical character recognition, and it works for the, whenever we want to extract the text out of image, then OCR method is best suitable for it. It can capture the hidden data and doesn't work whenever application is minimized. It is slow as compared to full text and native, because it is working with the OCR engine, and it is helpful for extracting the text from such as images and PDF. So it preserves the text position on the screen. So to demonstrate the OCR method, I have one image with me, and I'll be extracting the text from this image. So let's go to the UiPath Studio, drag one sequence for OCR, set as a start node, and let's enable the screen scraping. Let's highlight this image. So I told you it is slower, so it takes time, and you can see that we are getting the result. Okay, but if you select the full text method and refresh it, you can see that no text extracted from this UI element. And if you select native and refresh it, again, native method has failed to scrape the UI element. So that means OCR is the best suitable when we want to extract the text from the image. So you can see that we can, get the as it is text from this image. So there are two types of OCR engine, Microsoft and Tesseract. So you can always switch between that and, you can see the result. So if we use Tesseract engine, let's see what we are getting. So we are not getting the proper text. So it depends on your application, what application you are using and from what application you are extracting the data. Then, but with the Microsoft OCR, we are getting the exact text from this screen or image. Then it gives the output in a text format, and our output is stored in this particular variable. So let's have a message box activity to print the result, and we will just drag this variable and let's run this workflow. So you can see that we are getting the text from this image. So this was all about the data scraping and screen scraping method. So the difference between data scraping and screen scraping is that we need to use data scraping when we want to extract the data from a structured format, which is a pattern or table. And screen scraping is useful when we want to extract the data or spy the specific UI element from the screen. So input method is used to interact with the application. Basically, when we want to provide the input to the application. So there are three types of input method for click and type action, such as default, send window messages, and simulate type click. So default method, it does not erase pre-existing text. It supports special keys, and writing in the background does not work. So what I mean, I will tell you by giving a demo. So suppose I have this text file with me. So for default method, it is saying that it does not erase the pre-existing text. So I have some pre-existing text. Let's see whether it is erasing or not, and support the special character. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide a special character over here. Let's say enter, and I'm providing some text. So let's see what it is doing. So basically this input method is we can use in the property section of type into, click, and send hotkey activities. So again, I'm dragging one sequence for input method, set as a start node, opening it, and I'm dragging type into activity over here. I am highlighting this screen of Notepad. And for default method, we don't need to check anything or do anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add enter as a hotkey or a special key, and I'm going to pass some text over here. Let's say, thanks for joining. Okay, so let's see what it is doing, and let's run the workflow. So you can see that it worked for special key. So special key worked for us for this default method, because it has clicked, it went to the new line. That means it has entered the new line, and it has entered the text, but it has, it doesn't erase the pre-existing text from this notepad. So I'll again preserve the format, and for send window messages, it does not erase the pre-existing text, supports special key, and works in the background. It is similar to the default. It's just that it works in the background. So for send window messages, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click this and make it a true, so that send window messages input method will get applicable to this activity. And I'm saving it, and I'm running the workflow for send window messages input method. Let's see what it does. It worked in the same way as default because it does not erase the pre-existing text and it supports the special key. So next input method is similar type or click. So for similar type or click, it erases the pre-existing text and it does not support the special key. It means, suppose I'm again preserving the format and let's see the demo. So for similar type or click, to enable it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to false it out because a send window messages, I'm going to false this flag and I'm going to true for this similar type or click, so that similar type input method will get enabled. And let's see how it works. So as you can see here, it erased the pre-existing text. So whatever the text it was there, it has erased from that particular notepad, and it does not support the special key. That means the enter we have provided this as a special key. So it has considered it as a text and it has print like that. So this was all about the input methods. So till now, we have seen data scraping used to extract the structured data. We have seen screen scraping used to extract the specified UI element from the screen. We have seen the input method, which is used to send the data back to the application, and the different types of input methods. So working in the background, you have to check after the session. So, and let me know which input method works in the background and which input method does not work in the background. So you can check this particular point at the end of the session by yourself. And coming to the next point, web automation. So web automation is not only, to extract the data from the particular element from the screen, or just to pass the data to the screen and just to click on the button, but it sometimes we need to deal with a list, we need to deal with a checkbox, or we need to select the items. There are different activities we need to perform, right? So there are set of activities you can find in the activity panel. If you go to the activity panel here, and if you go to the UI automation section, you can find a lot of activities here: browser, images, elements, like text, for mouse, events, so, like that. So you can always explore this particular activities from this activity panel, and to get the example, to have the example, you can go to the RPA Foundation course, and from there you can find a lot of example in which all these activity have been used. So web automation, so I will just explain the brief about this particular activity, because this activity are mostly used in the web automation. So open browser and attach browser, it is basically a container that enable you to open the browser or attach the browser with specified URL, and it will execute the multiple activities within it. So type into activities, it is mostly used activity, and it used to send the keystroke to the UI element or the screen. Select item is used to select the item from the combo box or a list. So whenever we have to select the list, select the particular item from the drop down, then select item we need to use. Then check activity used to select or clear the radio button or checkbox. Click activity used to specified, click on specified UI element. Hover, it will hover over the specified UI element. And send hotkey used to send the keyboard shortcuts, or a hotkey to the particular UI element. So this was all about this activity. So I have one example in which I have tried to cover all this activity. So I will quickly run that particular demo to have an idea about this activity. So the use case is, there is a one flight booking website, and over there is a a round trip button. So it is clicking on the round trip button with the help of click activity. And I have used open browser, maximize window activity, then click activity. Then again, I have passed some hotkeys to select the source and destination. Then I'm clicking on the departure time and return time or date. Then I'm checking the whether element exists or not. And again, I'm selecting the class, which is from economy to business, from the drop down, and clicking on the search button. So let's see the demo by running this workflow. So it has launched the browser. It will click on round trip. And it has entered the source, destination, departure date, return date, and selecting the business class, and clicked on search. So this is how we can interact with the web browser, and this is how we can deal with our screen and get the data from the screen and pass the data to the screen. So till now we have seen data scraping, screen scraping, input method, and how we can automate the web. So that's all from my side, and I'm handing over for the next topic to the Deepak. So Deepak, over to you. I'm stopping my screen.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Yeah.
Everyone can see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can
Deepak.
see your screen, but I see there is a little echo when you speak. Yeah, you speak again.
Is
We
it
can't
clear?
hear. Yeah, it's better. Yes, Deepak, go ahead. We can't hear you now. Deepak, we can't hear you.
Okay, next part is selectors. So whenever we are working with recordings and data scraping or some other components which capture a sequence of steps, selectors plays a very important role. So we'll discuss here what is selectors, types of selector, how to use selector in real life scenario. So first of all, what is selectors? Selectors represent an essential part of UiPath Studio and UI automation in general. So whenever we are working with any sequence of step, in that step we are always finding some selectors are generated. So in that sequence, we have to trigger or automatically select that selection part which we want to automate it. Just like we want to automate our web pages or any other desktop application, that time we can change it according to our requirement as well. So understanding how to generate reliable selector and how to use them help us to develop processes that are dependable. To automate specific action in the user interface, or code requires us to interact with various windows. So just like if we are working on Notepad++ or any other application, desktop application, or our calculator as well, so that time we need to change it according to our requirement. Or if we are working with HTML pages, then also we will need to have different types of components to be selected. So let me give you one example how selector works. So just like if we are selecting this text box to be captured or generated some selection link, so that selection link is based on our URL. So that is, if we are working for this, is definitely ask for our URL as well. Second, we will need to have the components or contents to be declared here. So this will work with an ID. And third, is working with CSS selection method. So that selection method, we will use it according or change it according to our components. So there are three types of selectors which we can discuss here mainly. I will cover full selectors, partial selector, and dynamic selector. So let's go to our UiPath Studio. In our UiPath Studio, when we are selecting or clicking on UI Explorer, it will open a window where we can see that different components are selected when we are working or with selectors. So this will show us a tree view representation, their properties, as well as CSS components which is generated. So as you can see here, this is our tree view representation. When we want to indicate our screen or indicate our element, we just have to click on this or select any of these application. It will generate some CSS code. You can see here. So this will, first line itself indicates our application name or Windows. So we have selected our calculator application. So it will write here as a with application extension name as well as the tray or win, because we have selected from our taskbar. Then it will generate our classes, running application, task classes, running application, and other details. So this is a very generic when we are working with any selector or any programming language, but UiPath provide us a additional feature. We don't need to write the code for this. It is automatically generated when we capture our screen or select any components. So let me do that for other screen as well. Other component, indicate our screen. Let me click on it. So after selecting different number, you can see here when we open the application, the app name is available with their app ID. Title is definitely a calculator, that is Windows calculator, and landmark contains landmark target. The automation ID, this number pad, because we have selected 8. Because of that, it's showing number pad. So this is how it looks. When we want to remove any of the component, we just have to check or uncheck the field whichever is not required. If we want to add some additional components which is in the hidden format, we just have to check this one, and all components will be selected and we can see here. So it was automatically not selected. If we want to remove any of the elements or attributes from here, we have to select or uncheck. So just like if this is already checked, because of that name is populating here as a name calculator. When I uncheck, that name is goes on. Same thing has happened for other components as well. So this is a tree view representation where we can get the root node and the end node, which we can use it for our further modification. So indicate anchor is basically used by already done in one of the example by Priyanka. So I'm not covering this one. So if I want to highlight specific component which I have selected earlier, so you can see here when I clicked, that component is highlighted. When I unclick on this, it will goes on. Same way we can cover it for the UI frameworks like UI automation and active accessibility. We can check or uncheck according to our requirement. So once our modification is done, we have to click on validate. If validation is successful, it will pop up with a green button. Otherwise, if validation is not clear or there is any issue in between that, then definitely it will pop up with a red color or watermark with yellow. Any question as of now?
We will cover the Q&A at the end. Deepak, so you can go ahead.
Okay, so moving to the next part. So like this thing, we can do it for other application as well. So let me close this and do a one round of example. So like here, let's take an example of notepad where I've created one notepad with the name which is already saved on my desktop, and other one is untitled notepad. So I want to record or record some of the components on this and type some activities which is required to be generated. So let me record the screen and enter some details. Same way we can do that. This is example of selector. Now you can see this is typed here because we have selected untitled one. It will, once we'll click on the escape button and click on save and exit, the sequence will be generated on our sequence tab. So if we want to see our selector is generated or not, we just have to click on UI Explorer. So there are three options we can select it. One from edit selector, second one from the UI Explorer, and third we can select it from target tab. So let me select it from here. So here you can see that selector is generated. So click on this tab, you're able to see these components are available. So let me run this and see if it is written or not. It will write our code or not. So whenever we are adding or entering any detail, there is an option available in the bottom section where we can check empty field. If we will check that empty field, already existing text will be cleared from our box, otherwise it will not clear. So if there is any issue, it will wait for 30 seconds and pop up with a error message that with error detail. It's running. So till the time it will execute our code, let's understand some other components with the selectors. To overcome this issue, or just which we have in the starting of the UI element, we said to overcome the components of selector issue, UiPath Institute selector component. Like when we are working with any web-based automation or any other automation tool and selector is not available, then it is very difficult to pick or select the container part. So it will generate an XML fragment, as I said, or shown to you. Then most of the time selectors are automatically generated. So as you can see here, it shows an error because we have selected untitled untitled box, and in the whenever we are not saying any of the file, it will start with a asterisk mark. So if I want to display same content, let me click here and add here asterisk. I will explain about this. Let's run this and see the result. Now I can see components written. So whenever we are adding these type of selection method, it will write any of the file which contains notepad at the end. You can see here this text name, or this will refer to the file name from ending position. So whatever the file name from the beginning, it will not consider this one. It will directly jump to the end section, and based on the asterisk it will write the code and complete the sequence. So this is basically working, or this is basically called as a wildcard. So there are two types of wildcard used in selector, one for asterisk and second is question mark, which we can use it according to our requirement. So asterisk is working in general, so we have to provide either start node or end node, but asterisk is working for any specific component which we want to highlight. So this will write any of the file open with start with notepad. So let me execute in the second part. Let me close this. So it will write in this file as well because we have indicated with asterisk, as you can see here. Same way we can add any of our component recording according to our requirement. So whenever we are working with any of the recording component or UI Explorer or directly generated selectors, that is called as full selector. Sorry. So full select, let me explain you about the differences between full selector and partial selector. So whenever we are having the title name or the header name of any generated selector, basically that is a full selector. But when I am recording any specific component with desktop recording, it will generate a basically a partial selector. It means the header component of XML file is not available in our selection box. So this is the basic difference. If I will record anything here, just like recording, skip, save. Now our partial selector should be generated. Now you can see here, so header component is in the hidden format, and all which we want or specific to our requirement is basically generated here. So dynamic selector is basically when we are using asterisk and question mark together, or when we are changing or modifying a selector component which is automatically generated while recording or scraping. So modification is done in dynamic, and which we can do it at the runtime as well. So full selector contains all the elements needed to identify a UI element, including the top level window, which I've shown here. Then it is generated basically by the basic recording and any other part of recording, but partial selector is generated by the desktop recording only. It do not contain information about the top level window, which we can see that in full selector as well. So when we are talking about the dynamic selector uses a variable or an argument as a property for the attributes of a target tag. This allows the selector to easily identify a target element based on the value of the variable or argument, and not an exact string, which might change depending on the interaction. So when I'm ingesting asterisk mark or question mark, that is called as wildcard. That wildcard we can use it in between our selection of dynamic selector. So this is all about selector. Hope this is clear. If any question, you can ping me on chat box. Okay, so if there is no question, let's move to the second part, that is recording, or the final final topic of this session. So first of all, what is recording, and we'll discuss about the type of recording, and by using one example I will show you how we can use it in real life scenario. So recording is nothing but us capturing a sequence of steps which we are performing at the time of execution or at the time of generating our code. So there are 5 types of recording is present in UiPath Studio. First is basic, second is desktop, which I have already covered in some of the parts in selectors. Third is image, fourth is web, and fifth is native and Citrix. So let's understand about the terminology basic recording. What does it mean? So it generates a full selector for each activity with no container. That resulted automation is lower than one that uses container and is suitable for single activities. So desktop recording is suitable for all type of desktop application, which we have did it for calculator and this for notepad. So let me show you one more example with this on recording. So for doing recording, we just need to application should be open in background, select desktop recording and click on record. So when we will click on the record and hit 9 plus 23 or 22 and click on equals to. So it will show up and result. Press escape button and click save and exit. It will generate all your sequence on calculator tab. So if you will run this, it will show same screen while what we have performed in real life. So whenever we want to perform these type of repetitive tasks, better to use recording or screen scraping, these type of activity which will help us to save our time here. So this is called as desktop recording, which we are using for any desktop application, and basically it is suitable for all of the desktop application. Web recording is basically working on design for the recording of web pages. So let me give you one example on web recording. So this is my Gmail account. I want to automate login of Gmail account, which is automatically done by UiPath robot. So let's create one sequence which will enter my credential, and after entering credential, it will log in into our inbox. So select web recording, click on record, select this tab, and once you select this, you have to enter your email ID. So if any fields are already exist here, click on empty field. It will clear off your all the existing fields and jumps to enter the detail. Now click on next. So once you click on the next tab, it will move to your password section. For entering password, just have to select again that checkbox and click on type password. Once you click on the type password, it will hide your actual data and start with asterisk symbol, which is mandatory or which we can use it for our professional purpose. So let me enter my password. Once you'll finish to enter this, click on enter and press next tab. So because we have did it manually, it will definitely log in with in my Gmail account. So let me enter my Gmail account. I will log out and then I will run my robot system. Till the time, let me press escape tab and save my sequence. Now you can see whatever I have did it manually, all the sequence are recorded and present inside this tab. So let me log out and clear my screen. Now let's do that by UiPath robot. Because my already screen is open, if you will not open this screen, you have to enter open browser activity as well. So you have to mention each and every detail on open browser, then it will jump to your execution path.
Now you can see operation is completed. Let me go to. This is automatically done by UiPath robot. So by this way, we can automate our sequence of stuff by using recording. So then finally, the next part, that is native and Citrix. So it is equivalent to desktop recorder, but for Citrix,
Deepak, there is a disturbance again when you speak. Earlier it was better.
okay.
Using native and Citrix recording, this recording is basically nothing but a desktop recording only, but the environment will change when we will use it for some images or some other type of automation which will generate less type of selectors. So this is all about recording as well. So that's it from our side. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any question, we are happy to address it.
Yeah, guys, you can now unmute and ask any question if you want. Priyanka, Deepak, you can see some of the question on the chat also. Priyanka, you there?
Yeah, yes, Vibhor.
So you can see.
Can we extract CAPTCHA using these things? Extract data type?
For recording and screen scraping, definitely we can use it, capture automation as well.
But CAPTCHA is not suggested if I tell you.
Definitely the accuracy of capture automation is 50%, but you can use it. If the simple type of captcha is available, you can get it around 80% of accuracy as well.
So we can use screen scraping, right?
So you can use either one of screen scraping or recording. Both will work.
Recording also will work. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Hi, I'm Santosh. I have a question to Priyanka related to the screen scrapping.
Sorry, who is
I'm
speaking?
Santosh.
Not here properly.
Your voice is too low. Can you please speak louder?
Can you hear me now?
Now it's better.
Yes. Okay. I have a question related to the screen scrapping. I have a website. I need to navigate to the multiple links and I need to capture the data. Still, I'm struggling with. I'm actually UiPath beginner. I'm struggling. Can you help me out how to capture the in-depth data?
Capturing data from multiple window.
Multiple links. One link is there. Other than if you go to that link, again some more links are there. If you click on those links, again I need to go inside those links and get the data. For example, okay, I'll ping that website.
So yeah, so what you can do, you can capture the first link, okay, and you can wait. You can, with the help of screen scraping, you can capture that particular link. You can click on that particular link with the help of click activity, and you can wait till that particular link is opening. And when that link is getting opened, then you can capture the another link. So you can use screen scraping, click, and find element or element exists activity to check that particular link is opened or not, and then you can move ahead for the next link.
Okay, actually I pinged that URL in the chat. Can you please open that in your browser?
Viewer, is it suggestible to use this?
Which one?
Yes,
Yeah, the URL which
yes, we
Santosh
do
pinged.
use for different RPA tools, but I am trying through UiPath.
If you want, you can do that.
Okay, 1 second. Let me open.
If you give
Yeah,
just hint
that
how to
that
do,
link you can
it will be helpful for me.
so whatever I have told you, the steps you can applicable, that can be applicable for this website. So you just use the screen scraping, and you can just wait for the element, wait for that particular website to load, and then you can again attach window. You can use the attach window to attach that particular link, and then you can scrape the data or scrape the next link from that window.
For next link, you can definitely use a anchor base so that
Okay.
next link will work.
Can you click on title 1 or title 4, any title? Okay, go to any title inside 1-04 or 6.
Yeah, here what is important, you have to wait until that particular website is loaded properly. So you have to wait till that so you can scrape any element from that next screen, and you can wait till that element is loaded.
Okay, and then again I need to click on HTML, that option.
Your voice is again low, very low.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So here is the delay time. Whenever you are waiting for the any specific link to be generated, so you
Okay.
can add delay time according to your web page timing. So after
Yes.
and before delay time will be applicable in your case.
Okay, if I want to go through multiple links, you need to use this one, a loop also, I think. For example, here HTML is there. I need to click on each HTML. So if no, not that HTML, one
Okay,
more,
this one.
this one. If you click on that HTML, so you will
So,
get this from purpose to end. Here some data is there. No? I need to scrap this data.
so to loop through the each and every HTML tag, or we can say that button, you can either use loop, or you can use like dynamic selector. And
Okay.
with the help of dynamic selector, you can able to click on each and every that HTML tag. So you have to scrape one element and put it in a counter, and you
Okay.
can loop through it, and you can get the you will be able to click on that particular thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, I need to write it into one HTML file. Actually, my my intention is I need to scrap all the data. I need to store it in one HTML file. This we can do through UiPath.
Yeah, we can do that, but you have to use different activity, because recording and sensing will save your data in XML as well. And for saving HTML, I think you have to code it accordingly.
Okay.
But definitely this is possible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the idea.
Any other question from anyone?
And if you've seen any specific question which a lot of people are asking, you may want to address that. Or Anmol, in case you have seen anything, or Parth.
I guess almost question has been answered, as I can see. But if any question remain unaddressed, the
So here it's mentioned while using calculator, can we select two elements? Yes, it's possible to select two elements as well for any option. So if you want to in calculator, if you want to select the square root of any number, so you can do that. Then equal to you can provide it, and when you hit enter, it will generate your code.
This is Jilani. I have one question.
Yes.
So in Selenium, we have selectors or identifiers like name, ID, class, XPath, right?
Yes.
Same thing can we use in UiPath?
Yeah. So when I've started, I've shown each and everything. So when I click on the UI Explorer, so different titles are generated. It's totally based on the websites. So when website is having a detail, definitely you can select or uncheck it or change it according to your requirement. So let me open it from the UI Explorer. So when you will click on the UI Explorer, it will open up all your selector components where you can modify it according to your So if you want to go ahead with ID, but ID is basically sometimes is not working because a website ID is dynamic. Yeah, it is automatically changing. So if you are using with ID, it's recommended to use not to use ID, and you can select the class. So for class, it will better work because class is not going to be changed for any of the website, but ID some website is changing. Means 20% website we can say that it's static, but rest 80% is dynamic. So better to use class, not with ID.
If possible, can you show us one example with XPath?
Yeah, 1 second. So let me select this one. Now you can see here all the selector components are generated. So if I'm using CSS selector and any so rest all is not selected. Let me check all so that we will get each and everything. So here they have used division. So in division it is not mentioned any of the ID. It's everything on the division. Let me open on the Google. Do you know any website name where you can get the ID? So let me scrap that content, because in a Google page as well we can see that the classes only. So this is a class ID. So either you can get ID after the name. So whenever you will say horizontal or vertical any section of a web page, next will be ID if it is available on the website. Otherwise it is directly available in the class. So if you are selecting ID, please noted to be uncheck that and select only classes and change according to your requirement. So if you want to add any wildcards based on your requirement, you can add the wild class in the class only, not with that. Hope you got it.
Yeah, thanks, Deepak.
Anyone having any other question?
Yeah, we still have 15 more minutes, 15 to 18 minutes. Not only this one, if you have any question from previous session also, that can be addressed.
Hi Deepaka. Actually, you shown recording, no?
Yes.
Is it recording can be applied for dynamic things?
Yes.
For example, in the calculator used one 9 into 3 something. Suppose you'll get some result.
Yes. Yes.
That can we make it dynamic?
Yeah. So just like I've used here for Gmail login. So
Okay.
basically it's dynamic. We are not changing anything. And if just like we are working on the Amazon website, let me give you. This space is dynamically changing. So if I want to extract or any of the text or from this portal, like shop on the Amazon app, this is the text I just want to be on the simpler side. So let me extract this, because definitely if you check after 1 or 2 hours, this text will be no more available on this page. So yeah. Go to web recording. Click on this or download the Amazon app. So it will jump to this page. Let me begin with this one. Yeah. Now you can see this sequence is generated for me, but when I will run this command, it will definitely not work because the position is not changing for each and every component or container. Based on the image size and availability, we can add here. So instead of the name, complete name, whichever you are getting the accurate name, so you can add in the title section wildcards, which will work for you.
Okay,
And
thank
once
you.
you will add wildcard, don't forget to validate this. Otherwise, you will add the wildcard and click on OK without validating. It will not. Yeah. So earlier question is related with the ID. You can see here the ID is present. Sorry, I did not remember the name of person who is asking for the ID. So you can see here the ID is available. So if you want to remove this ID, you can uncheck it and add the your class name. But yes, after adding the class name, you have to validate the code, and once validation is done and you will run the code, definitely it will work.
Okay, thanks, Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, this is Mobin. Can you show me the OCR method?
Priyanka, can you go ahead?
Yeah, Mobeen, I've already shown you the OCR method, in the session only. So OCR is basically used to, get the text from the image. So I have shown you the example, how we can get the text from the image. So maybe if you have missed it out, you can check the recording. Or
So
do
when
you,
you say the image, so it is any specific like the image should be JPG or something like that, or any type of image we can capture
it
it.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. OCR can extract the text.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So only pre-recognition on the OCR, your text should be clearly visible. Otherwise, what happens when you start